it's Nico. It's the beginning of July now. I'd like to look back at the first half of 2023 and see how I've been doing with my goals and share some favorites from this year so far. You might have seen me setting my 2023 reading goals at the end of last year. There were 4 categories I planned to focus on: English classics, Shakespeare, I gave it its own category, the Bible, and Greek and Roman myth. If you're interested in finding out why I decided on these categories, I'll link the video here, where I explained my thought process. But in brief, it's because of a book called How to Read Literature Like a Professor. I made a spreadsheet on Notion showing different categories and the month of the year to make sure I read something from each category each month and to track my reading progress. So how am I doing with my goals? For the first goal, I've been on track. I read at least 1 English classic each month. It's interesting to notice, apart from January, everything after that was modern classics. I've been enjoying them very much. The second goal includes reading Shakespeare's plays themselves, as well as non-fiction works about Shakespeare and the plays. Before I sat down and reviewed my year, I felt like I was doing quite well, but when I looked at my spreadsheet, it said plainly that I only read 3 plays so far. I was stuck in Titus Andronicus for 3 months, and I only stumbled through 1 non-fiction book. The highlight, however, was definitely watching 2 theatre performances of Julius Caesar back-to-back. I made a video specifically comparing and contrasting the 2 marvelous shows. I loved both and really hope you'll have opportunities to watch wonderful shows like these as well. The third goal is to read the Bible as literature. I've been reading the Bible, but not necessarily as literature, and I haven't made any videos about it. I'm not exactly sure how to approach it. If you have any suggestions, please share them with me. For Greek and Roman myth, it took me 2.5 months, but I finished reading the Iliad, which was fabulous and so much better than I expected. I made so many videos on the Iliad. I think you were all a bit sick of it. I don't blame you at all. After that, I've been stuck in the middle of Metamorphosis until this day, so that's been about 3.5 months, which is bad. I have not read any play. Oresteia is sitting very lonely on my shelf. 2 things I highly recommend under this category. I listened to this BBC dramatization of Agamemnon in January. It was amazing. I listened to a lecture series called The Iliad of Homer by Elizabeth van Diver, which was also amazing. I'd like to slowly go through all of her lecture series on Greek and Roman stuff. Overall, I think I'm still happy with the categories for the second half of the year. I'll continue reading English classics and Shakespeare. For English classics, I should go back in time and cover the ground from before the Victorian period. For Greek and Roman myth, I might be realistic for once and just aim to finish Metamorphosis and focus on Oresteia. A few new favourite and noteworthy books from the first half of 2023. 2 non-fiction books: Super Infinite by Catherine Rundell, a very bold and intelligent biography of John Donne. Wonderful writing, wonderful life story. A New Name by Emma Scrivener, a beautiful and honest personal story about eating disorders. 2 novels from the 20th century, The Go-Between by L.P. Hartley. I mentioned it in at least 3 videos already. I won't repeat myself because I don't want to bore you. The Constant Nymph by Margaret Kennedy, an instant hit when it was first published, about the interior life of a highly sensitive 14-year-old girl. 1 Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, simple and straightforward plotline, subtle and complicated characters. I love the speeches, I love the friendship. Here are a few characters that I liked. I haven't called them my favorite characters. Favorite is quite a strong word. I find it difficult to make a list if I call the list my favorite characters. So these are just the characters I liked. Odysseus from the Iliad by Homer, a sensible, brave and calm man. Peter Grant from the Rivers of London series. Again, a sensible, brave, and funny man. Maybe that's just my taste. Same with Odysseus. I like when the character sees the danger but doesn't put himself at risk unnecessarily, or when he sees the danger and knows he might be more than he can handle, but for the right reason makes the bold move and takes the risk anyway. Bilbo the Hobbit is a bit like that too. Teresa, Paulina, and Sebastian from The Constant Nymph by Margaret Kennedy. Very good children, rather a handful, but I couldn't help loving them. The most shocking thing I found out recently is from a viewer in the comment section under my Jane Austen July video. Bethy said, "The genius of Jane Austen is brilliant. I read it last year and planning to read it again this year. Paula Byrne is also married to Jonathan Bate. Fun fact." What? Paula Byrne is married to Jonathan Bate. How do I not know about it? I've been reading 2 separate books written by a couple, and I felt like I knew them, especially after reading Jonathan Bate's memoir, which was one of my favorite books of all time. Which is one of my favorite books of all time. And there was a whole chapter about his family, but I had not the faintest idea that they are married. I saw in the list of books written by Paula Byrne, the poetry anthology Stressed Unstressed, just a few weeks ago. And I thought, oh, interesting, that was the book Jonathan Bate mentioned. I knew Jonathan Bate edited the book with his wife. He said so in Mad About Shakespeare, but I didn't twig at all that Paula Byrne is the wife. Also in The Genius of Jane Austen, Paula Byrne casually mentioned that her husband was a Shakespeare scholar. Who could have guessed that he was the Shakespeare scholar that I've been reading and admiring all this time? Oh well. There's another clue that I missed. Jonathan Bate's book is called The Genius of Shakespeare. Paula Byrne's book is called The Genius of Jane Austen. It's all very obvious when you think about it. Sigh. Thanks, Bethy, for breaking the news to me. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one.